Hi. So today, it's not our typical day. Usually we do these videos on Thursday, but I've been sick, and so I haven't been able to do a video. So we are taking this week. We're taking a break from our forgiveness series that we're in because I want to share with you guys part of my testimony that's happened this past week. Um, some of you know, some of you don't know. I have sarcoidosis. It is an autoimmune inflammatory disease, and I have a very rare form. It's multi organ and bone sarcoidosis. And so, with that disease, what it does is it just inflames any organ or anything that it's on. They look like little white lesions, kind of like cancer. And so, it can be mistaken for cancer because they present the same way. However, there's not a cure for sarcoidosis. Um, They can put you on medicines to reduce your inflammation, or at least try to reduce your inflammation. Unfortunately, for myself, we've exhausted all of the avenues that we could, and so now it's just maintaining as we walk through this. One of the first things that they told me when I got this disease was, "This disease is not what will kill me. The other diseases that it causes is what will kill me." And so, as we've gone through this road, I was diagnosed about 4 years ago. As we've gone down this road, I have developed several diseases. So I have fibromyalgia, pretty bad. Like my whole body feels like one big bruise. And Sjogren's disease. Sjogren's makes you have dry eyes, dry mouth, and it can also go into your kidneys and dry out your kidneys. So guess who has that? And I'm in stage 3 kidney disease and have just recently, over the past month, been diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver as well. So Monday, actually Sunday, um, let's back up about a month. About a month ago, I had an upper respiratory infection. Ended up in the ER, and they said I also had a bacterial infection in my bladder. And then 2 weeks after that, I got sick with. I was just sick, like it just didn't feel good. Went into the ER, had a bacterial infection, had a UTI. And then a couple weeks after that, which brings us up to this last visit, they were saying that I had another bacterial infection. And so I'm prone to get those. I'm on diuretics, and so that drains a lot of the fluid out of my body, and so I'm more prone to get UTIs, which isn't uncommon for me. But to be fighting a bacterial infection for this long is not common. Like it's different for me. And I'm on some cirrhosis support pages, and I see a lot of people talking about like sepsis and infections and things like that. And so, just tells me that I have to really make sure that I'm being careful. So Monday we went in. Was it Sunday? No, it was Monday. So Monday I worked, and closer to the time getting off, I started noticing some signs of internal bleeding. And so I told my husband, which was hard for me because typically when I have a symptom, I'm just like, oh, it'll go away. It's fine. I don't need to tell anybody. But I went ahead and told him because with this new diagnosis of cirrhosis, I felt like it was important. And so we also called my GI doctor, and we couldn't get through. And so me and my husband decided let's go to the hospital. Now, typically, and like I said, this is a testimony of how wonderful God is. Typically, when we go to a hospital, we live on the island, and so we will go to hospitality or we will go to UTMB because those are the things that are closest to us. And typically, we go to hospitality if I need to go to the ER, then more than they'll send me to UTMB. However, God laid it on my husband's heart that he wanted to go to a different hospital, and we will just call that Hospital M. And so I wasn't excited about it because I was like, the care there isn't the best. They've got really good food. Um, but the care typically, as far as the doctors, it's not up to par. And when I go see a doctor or specialist or anybody, I need to make sure that people are on point because I do have so many different things going on. So I wasn't thrilled about it, but I was like, if that's where God is telling my husband we need to go, then that's where we need to go. And so I followed his lead, and we went to Mainland Hospital. They got me right back to the emergency room. We probably stayed in the ER for about an hour or two before the doctor came by and told us we were going to be admitted for observation. And so they got us a room, and so we were probably in the ER maybe 2 hours before we got up to our room. We got up to our room about 11:30. I hadn't eaten anything that day because I just didn't have an appetite. My stomach didn't feel good. Um, and so they got us up to our room, and we hadn't eaten anything. It was 11:30 Monday evening. We asked if we could have a sandwich, so they brought me a sandwich container with chips and some fruit, and they brought Reggie the same. And so we both got to eat Monday evening. By um, Tuesday morning, so Monday in the ER, they gave me some antibiotics. They were giving me IV fluids, and by Tuesday morning, I woke up when they came in Tuesday. I'm sorry, hold on, let me get my days together. They came in late Monday evening and put me on a new antibiotic, a stronger one. And by Tuesday morning, about 4 o'clock, I woke up and was sick, like sick. Um, I was throwing up a lot. Couldn't keep anything down. Couldn't stop the throwing up. Like it was really bad. And so they were coming in and they were giving me Zofran through my IV to try and calm the nausea down, and it was not working. And so the nurse that I had that day, who he was from God, he was there every bit of the way on Tuesday with me and Reggie. Reggie was actually working from the hospital so that he could be with me. And so there were moments where like Reggie was on his meeting and I'm got my face buried in him and I'm just throwing up and I can't stop. And so it was hard. It was a hard day. Um, and I think I pushed that forward a day. I think Tuesday I was good. I think it was Wednesday. Wednesday I wasn't good. I'm so sorry. So Tuesday Monday night we went to the hospital. Tuesday I was okay. We were waiting for the doctors to come in. Tuesday evening I started hurting a little bit. Wednesday was when I got sick. So here we are at Wednesday. The nurses that we had on Tuesday, they were really nice. They were really sweet. Tuesday evening they were good to us. So Wednesday we get a different nurse. He's filling in for somebody. And this guy, I mean, he was in my room like I was his only patient. He was in there giving us vomit bags, and he was in there pushing the Zofran, and he was in there telling us, "Hey, I'm calling the doctor. We need to get her on morphine. We need to get her on a stronger nausea med." Like he was just pushing for everything. Bless his heart. He ran around like a crazy person, and he made sure that he fought for us. And to have somebody like that on your team when you're sick and you can't fight for yourself, and your husband's an introvert, and I mean, Reggie, trust me, Reggie absolutely fought for me. Everything that I needed, Reggie was right there. But to have a nurse that knows the medical system and is willing to fight for you is not always something that you get. And we were just so grateful that God had orchestrated him. He usually worked in surgery, he was a surgery nurse. And God orchestrated it for him to be there on Wednesday to help us. And the third time that he came in, we still hadn't heard or he hadn't heard from the doctor about my nausea and pain meds. And he was frustrated. And he said, "This will be the third time I call her." And he said, "She's probably going to get mad at me, but I'm calling her anyway." And he left the room. So immediately, even though, I'm in pain and I'm not feeling good, I said a little silent prayer. I was like, "God, don't let Larry get in trouble. Like, he's trying to fight for me. God, just protect him." And God did. And the day before, we had seen a surgery doctor, and her name was Dr. Lewis. And she came in and she stayed in that room for probably about 30 minutes with me and Reggie. And when I say this was an angel sent from God, she was amazing. we met her on Tuesday, and she was pushing for me to get, we hadn't seen the GI doctor, but she wanted me to get a EGD and a colonoscopy. And so she was pushing for that. But she sat in there with us and she educated us on a lot of things and told us what we needed to do and what we should be doing and what doctors I should have on my list. Like, just a wealth of information that I wish I had 4 years ago when all this first started. Um, and so she was telling us all of that. And so she said, I'll come back on tomorrow, which would have been Wednesday. She said, I'll come back tomorrow and I will check on you. She said, hopefully they will have done the EGD and the colonoscopy by then. And so we were just so grateful for her. She was absolutely amazing. And so Wednesday, when Larry's trying to get a hold of the doctor to get me more meds, Dr. Lewis had come up to see me. And me and my husband, we were in our bedroom, or in our room. And I had just taken a home remedy. Don't fuss at me. I had just taken a home remedy that we had, and it was already starting to clear up the nausea, which we knew it would. And so, right as I took that, and it's barely starting to kick in, we could hear Larry in the hallway, and he was talking to somebody. We didn't know who he was talking to, but we could hear him, and we could hear that he was not heated, but there was a very large. Stop fighting! Stop fighting with him. Um, he had a lot of urgency in his voice, and so we can hear him out there, and we can hear him fighting for me, and so I'm like, wow, Larry's really, I hope he doesn't get in trouble. And so the next person that walks through the door was Dr. Lewis from the day before. Now, she's a surgery doctor. She was not one of my, she was there to consult, but she was not one of my doctors. She came walking in the room, and I heard her voice, and I couldn't, at this point I was so sick I couldn't open my eyes. I was just very, very nauseous. I had a cold rag on my face. And she came in, and when she started talking, I said, oh, I know that voice. It was like, have you ever been in a situation where you're not feeling good, or you're not, like, things aren't just going right, and there's that one person that comes in and it's like immediately you know you're going to be okay. And so when I heard her voice, I was like, she's gonna do this for me. I know that God's brought her here. She's gonna make this better. She's gonna help me. And she immediately got in the computer. She got the morphine, gave me the higher dose of morphine. Excuse me, gave me pain meds, or that was the pain med. And then she also got me the Zofran, to where you can get it when you get the pain meds, because a lot of times you can't have them together. And so she put the order in for me to have them together so that the morphine wouldn't make me nauseous. And so she immediately put that order in. Probably within 15 minutes, Larry was in there, and he was giving me the morphine and the Zofran. And we didn't know before this. We didn't know why I was sick. Like, we didn't know why I was vomiting. We didn't know why I was throwing up. Well, the new antibiotic that they put me on the night before, it was a stronger antibiotic. And when they changed the antibiotic and put me on that, my husband figured out that I was allergic to that antibiotic. And that's what had been making me throw up. And that's why I was in the state that I was in, is because the antibiotic they gave me on Tuesday evening, I was having an allergic reaction. Now, Reggie knew this because he has seen me react to several things. There's medicines that really bother me and that I have allergic reactions to. And so he recognized that. And he's the one that figured it out. The good part was when he told Larry and he told Dr. Lewis, it's that medicine. She's must be allergic to that medicine. They immediately cut it off. They immediately got in there with the morphine and the nausea meds to calm my body down, because my body was not having it. My right hand was swollen. I was vomiting like it just wasn't good. And so they listened to him. God gave them open hearts and open ears to listen to my husband. A lot of doctors won't, but my husband's my caretaker. He knows me better than anybody. He knows my health like the back of his hand. He knows, my medicines and what supplements I need and what is, like, he just knows. And it was so beautiful to watch him talk to them, and watch him fight for me, and watch him tell them this is what it is and this is what's happening. And it was just beautiful. And it was beautiful that God had blessed us with this amazing doctor and this amazing nurse that literally were our right hand while we went through this. And so we went through Wednesday, and I started feeling better. Probably about 2 in the afternoon was when the vomiting stopped, and I was able to calm my body down. And we went. I was able. They finally came in and said I could eat something. I hadn't eaten anything, and they finally came in and said I could eat something. So Wednesday late afternoon, I nibbled on a chicken breast that they had brought up, um, and so I was able to start eating. Still hadn't seen the GI doctor. He sent his physician assistant up, and they talked with us, and said that we probably do need an EGD and a colonoscopy. And but we were kind of waiting on the doctor. Well, by Thursday, the GI doctor still hadn't come in, and so um, they were like, "We're going to go ahead and let you go," and that was fine. But they said that the EGD and the colonoscopy I need to get done. So yesterday, right before they were going to let me go, my GI doctor called me back, who we had tried to get a hold of on Monday, and they moved my appointment up. And so I will be able to get that scheduled sooner. So the next month, we've got some things coming up that we've got to really take care of, and get to certain doctors for. And so we're getting all that done. But the beauty of watching God work through that. And you always wonder, man, am I doing this right? Am I doing what God's asked me to do? Am I tithing correctly? Am I in his will? And you question those things, because it's not like God's going to come down and tell you audibly where you can hear it, hey guys, you're doing a good job, appreciate it. And so getting little things like this, these are the blessings. Getting him sending Dr. Lewis to us when I didn't even need a surgeon this week was exactly what we needed. We needed to get that knowledge. Him bringing these nurses to us that were above and beyond, even the techs went above and beyond to help us. Like it was a wonderful experience of how God led us, and led my husband to what I needed and didn't need. And just to see those sprinkles of love and kindness, my my work team came together, and they made sure that Reggie had at least one hot meal a day. They would bring him lunch, and they would love on us through that, and it was so amazing, um, just to see what God was doing. And you know, when we got back into tithing, we questioned God: Are we doing this right? Is this how you want us to do this? Are we following your will? And then you get all these little sprinkles of here's my grace along the way, and it's like, that's it. I was doing it correctly. Like, I can't believe, like, it's just a beautiful, it's so beautiful to see. It's so beautiful to watch how God takes care of us by the people that he sends. And me and my husband, we were able to really dig into some verses while I was in the hospital, and really grow and learn some things that we hadn't caught on to. And so people always say, well, that sucks that you had to be in the hospital for a week and da da da. And it does, but the growth that came out of that, me and Reggie are closer to God because of that. We are closer in our walk because of what we just went through, because we got to see God in every single area. And was it miserable? Yes. And was I throwing up? Yes. And I was sick and I was in pain, and it was bad. It was really bad. There were some days that got hard. But even through that, to be able to see how God was still blessing us with people that not only were doing their job amazingly, but they were kind behind it. And there were some mess ups and some screw ups, but that's okay because we're human. And so we got opportunities to give these people more grace. We got opportunities to tell them how special they were, and how much they are loved, and how much we appreciate them, and that the work that they do matters. And that's what it's about for us when I go into the hospital. It's not about, getting fixed whatever I have that is going on. It's about, this is an opportunity that God has blessed us with to love on others. And so we get the privilege and the honor to love on these people and to just to go through it with them and allow them to see, hey, we've got you. We're praying for you. We love you. We appreciate you. And that's the beauty in it. To all of my people that have checked on me and brought me things or brought me food or sent money or said that, hey, we're praying for you. Thank you. That means so much. It is a hard road, but a lot of people go down that hard road. And it's all about how you decide you're going to live in that. Are you going to live in that road angry all the time? Upset? Felt like you've been treated unfairly? Other people have better things than you? Don't walk like that. Walk in compassion and in love and in giveness, like selfless giveness. My husband is so selfless. He was there from Monday until we got released yesterday. And he slept in a chair that did not fold out. It was literally, he sat up and he slept. And he didn't miss a beat with me. And he come home every day at 5 o'clock and he fed our cats and cleaned litter boxes and did the things that he needed to do, and it was right back to me. And he never skipped a beat. And there were times where I was sick and I was throwing up, and he was right there holding me and rubbing my back and had his Bluetooth in his ear because he's in a meeting with work. And the ability that we both have with both of our jobs to be flexible, to be, we can call our jobs and say, hey, this is going on with my health. And Reggie's like, hey, my wife's, she's sick, we got to go to the hospital. Or with my job, hey, I'm not going to be in. The grace and the love that we get from our jobs is absolutely amazing. And that's God's covering. That's God's blessing because we're faithful and because we do what he says and we're following him. And so because of that, he shows us those things. We were absolutely, and some people would say, well, you're not under his covering. Like, what about when you were sick and you were throwing up? Okay, Anne, it's not always going to be sunshine and roses. There's going to be times where you're sick and you don't feel good and things aren't right, and you want to cry out and be like, God, why? Why is this happening? Why am I not getting better? But there's a plan. I promise you, there's a plan. Having now 2 terminal illnesses, it's not scary. I mean, sometimes it can be, but it's more exciting because I'm like, okay, God, here we go. Here we go again. What are we doing now? What are we doing? What's the next one that we're doing? Who are we talking to? Whose life are we going to change? Who are we going to encourage today? It's all about how you look at it. Don't look at it like, oh, here's another one. It can be hard. It can be discouraging. And it's not that I'm never discouraged, because I am. There's times where I'm like, okay, God, I don't understand this. I don't understand why we have to go through this again. Like, why are you giving me another one? What is the deal? But I also know how in Job, and let me read you this out of Job. I tend to lean to Job a little bit more just because of all the things that he went through. Like, it just, I can't imagine, I go through a lot in my life, but not near what Job had to go through. And so just his demeanor and who he was as a person is just, it's really neat to get into that and know all that and read that. So it takes me back to Job 1, and it starts in verse 6. And it goes through 12. It says, now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. The Lord said to Satan, from where have you come? Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it. And the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, who fears God and turns away from evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, does Job fear God for no reason? Have you not put a hedge around him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face. And the Lord said to Satan, Behold, all that he has is in your hand. Only against him do not stretch out your hand. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. These verses right here is God giving Satan the permission to test Job. The enemy comes in, he's like, Job ain't worried about you. Yeah, he loves you now, but I guarantee you afflict him with something and he's going to be out the door. So God said, okay, I'm giving him to you, and you can do whatever it is you want with his possessions and with him, but you can't kill him. And so what did the enemy do? He took Job's kids. He killed them. Took away all his livestock. Took away all his possessions. Took away everything he had. Took away his friends, his wife, everything. Job didn't have anything. And then he gave him diseases. And he had leprosy, and he had this, and he had that, and he had all these things going on with his body and his health. Job's friends came and they laughed at him. Why do you serve God? That's just, I mean, it makes sense. His wife told him, just curse God and die already. Like, I'm tired of it. How would you even function if the people around you in your life are telling, that's what they're giving you? But what did Job do? Job praised God. He said, I'll never forsake my God, because even in this, my God is still good. Even in this, my God is still good. And because Job withstood that testing, God restored to Job everything that he had lost. If you haven't read the story of Job, I definitely suggest that you go take a look. I hope this was a nice break. I hope you got something out of it. We will continue in forgiveness next week. Love y'all.